Think boxing's just about knockouts and championship belts? Think again. Some fighters got themselves banned so hard, they became more famous for their scandals than their skills. From loaded gloves to ear biting madness, we're counting down the most shocking boxing bans that shook the sport to its core. Buckle up, fight fans. This gets wild. Number 7. Ryan Garcia, the social media star's fall from grace. Remember when Ryan Garcia dropped Devin Haney 3 times in their April 2024 super fight? Well, turns out King Rye had some chemical assistance in his corner. Garcia tested positive for the performance-enhancing drug Ostarine, and suddenly that career-defining victory vanished faster than you can say no contest. Here's where it gets juicy. Garcia's disclosed purse was $1.2 million, which he had to forfeit, though his actual guaranteed earnings were millions more. The New York State Athletic Commission didn't just overturn his victory, they hit him with a 1-year suspension retroactive to April 20th. Now, Ostarine isn't some new mystery substance. It's a selective androgen receptor modulator that tells muscles to grow, helps athletes build muscle mass, enhances fat loss, and increases stamina and recovery. It's been on WADA's ban list since 2008, so there's zero excuse for not knowing it's illegal. The wildest part? Garcia went on social media claiming innocence, posting, "I stand by that, I don't care what everyone says." But here's the thing, his team admitted he messed up and accepted the punishment without a hearing. That's not exactly the behavior of an innocent man, is it? Garcia's story proves that in today's boxing world, you can have all the Instagram followers in the world, but if you test dirty, your legacy gets knocked out cold. He'll be eligible to return in April 2025, but that loss to Haney, it's officially a win for clean athletes everywhere. Don't forget to hit that like button and test out YouTube's new hype feature. Thanks for watching. Now back to the video. Number 6. Jarrell Big Baby Miller, the repeat offender. If there was a hall of shame for PED violations, Jarrell Miller would have his own wing. This heavyweight contender didn't just test positive once, he turned failing drug tests into an art form. Picture this, June 2019, Miller's about to fight Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Garden for multiple heavyweight titles. His payday? Over $5 million. Then boom, Miller tested positive for GW501516, a doping agent believed to improve endurance that has been shown to cause cancer in lab animals. But wait, it gets worse. A March 31st blood test detected human growth hormone, while a urine sample revealed EPO in addition to another positive test for GW1516. 3 banned substances. 3. That's not a mistake. That's a systematic program. Andy Ruiz Jr. stepped in as Miller's replacement and shocked the world by beating Joshua. Meanwhile, Miller sat on the sidelines, claiming, "I have never ever willingly taken a steroid for performance-enhancing purposes," but admitted he took substances for healing properties. You'd think he'd learn his lesson, right? Wrong. In 2020, just as he was about to return against Jerry Forrest, Miller popped again for the same substances. The Nevada State Athletic Commission voted unanimously to ban Miller for 2 years. The guy had already served a 9-month ban in 2014 as a kickboxer for methylhexanamine. That's a career built on pharmaceutical support, folks. Anthony Joshua even nicknamed him Big Pharma Miller, and honestly, can you blame him? Number 5. Muhammad Ali, the conscientious objector. This one's different, fight fans. Muhammad Ali wasn't banned for cheating. He was banned for standing up for his beliefs, and it cost him the prime years of his career. In 1967, Ali was the undefeated heavyweight champion when he was called to join the Vietnam draft. On April 28, 1967, he protested by refusing to step forward when his name was called, resulting in his arrest. The New York State Athletic Commission immediately revoked his boxing license, and other commissions followed suit. Ali didn't throw illegal punches or tamper with equipment. He simply said, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong." For that, he lost 3.5 years of his athletic prime, from age 25 to 29, when most heavyweights are at their absolute peak. Think about what we missed. Ali defending his title against the best contenders of the late 60s. The evolution of his style during those crucial years. The fights that never were. He eventually won his case at the Supreme Court in 1971 and returned to boxing, but the Ali who came back was different. Still great, sure, but those missing years changed everything. He went from the dancing master who couldn't be touched to the rope-a-dope warrior who took punishment to dish it out. Ali's ban remains one of boxing's most controversial moments. Was it justice or injustice? That debate still rages today, but one thing's certain. Boxing lost something special during those years, and we'll never get it back. Number 4. Mike Tyson, the ear bite heard round the world. June 28, 1997. MGM Grand, Las Vegas, the rematch everyone wanted to see. Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield, 2. What we got instead was the most bizarre ending to a championship fight in boxing history. Holyfield had won the first 2 rounds of the fight and was dominating Tyson again, just like in their first bout when he scored an 11th round TKO. Tyson's camp had complained about headbutts in the first fight, and when referee Mills Lane didn't penalize Holyfield for what Tyson saw as intentional headbutts in the rematch, Iron Mike lost it. In the 3rd round, Tyson bit Holyfield's right ear. The ref deducted 2 points. Then, unbelievably, Tyson bit the left ear, tearing off a chunk that ended up on the canvas. The fight was immediately stopped, Tyson disqualified, and chaos erupted in the ring. On July 9, 1997, Tyson was banned from boxing by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for 15 months for biting Evander Holyfield's ear. He was also fined $3 million, about 10% of his $30 million purse. Here's the crazy part. Tyson was at the peak of his comeback. He'd rebuilt his career after prison, reclaimed the WBC and WBA titles, and was making tens of millions per fight. One moment of madness, 2 bites, and boom, suspended for over a year. When Tyson came back, he was never quite the same force. The aura of invincibility was gone. He'd gone from the baddest man on the planet to the guy who bit ears when frustrated. That's a legacy nobody wants. Number 3. Antonio Margarito, Plastergate. If you want to know why boxing fans have trust issues, look no further than Antonio Margarito's scandal. This wasn't just cheating. This was attempted assault with deadly weapons disguised as boxing gloves. January 24, 2009, Staples Center. Margarito is about to defend his WBA welterweight title against Shane Mosley, but Mosley's trainer, Nazim Richardson, noticed something fishy during the hand wrapping process. Officials found a suspect bandage wrap inside the knuckle pad that would be placed over Margarito's hands, and another identical illegal pad in his right hand. The pads? They were moist and dirty looking with a white substance smeared across the pad, like a cast plaster. Lab tests later confirmed traces of a chemical used to make plaster of Paris were smeared on the wraps. Think about that for a second. This substance hardens when wet. By the middle rounds, Margarito would essentially be hitting opponents with concrete fists. The California State Athletic Commission voted 7-0 to revoke Margarito and trainer Javier Capetillo's licenses for at least 1 year. Margarito claimed ignorance, saying Capetillo accidentally used the wrong inserts. Right, because professional fighters never notice what's being wrapped around their hands before the biggest fights of their careers. But here's where it gets really dark. Remember Margarito's brutal 2008 TKO of Miguel Cotto? Cotto's face was destroyed, swollen beyond recognition. Many now wonder if Margarito's hands were tampered with then too. When they fought again in 2011 under strict supervision, Cotto beat Margarito so badly the fight was stopped due to Margarito's grotesquely swollen eye. Justice? Maybe, but we'll never know how many fighters got hurt by those hardened wraps before Margarito got caught. Number 2. Panama Lewis, the trainer from hell. Every fighter on this list chose to cheat, but Panama Lewis, he made a career of it, and his most infamous crime destroyed lives. Lewis trained champions like Aaron Pryor and Roberto Duran, but his legacy is forever stained by what happened with Luis Resto. On July 1, 1983, the New York State Boxing Commission permanently revoked Lewis's state boxing license, effectively banning him from boxing in America for life. But Lewis wasn't done corrupting the sport. Years later, former boxer Luis Resto revealed Lewis's full bag of dirty tricks. Luis would break apart pills used to treat asthma and pour the medicine into water bottles, giving fighters greater lung capacity in later rounds. Remember the infamous black bottle incident in Aaron Pryor's fight against Alex Arguello? When Pryor was exhausted, Lewis gave him water from a black bottle, and suddenly Pryor fought like a man possessed. Lewis claimed it was just water and peppermint schnapps, but nobody believed him. In October 1986, Lewis was found guilty of assault, criminal possession of a weapon, conspiracy, and tampering with a sports contest. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. But even after his release, Lewis somehow kept working in boxing unofficially, training fighters despite his lifetime ban. The most sickening part? When confronted years later about the Resto incident, Lewis maintained his innocence, even trying to blame cornerman Artie Curley. No remorse, no apology, just a man who turned boxing into assault and never admitted guilt. Number 1. Luis Resto, the fight that killed a career, and a man. June 16, 1983, Madison Square Garden. What should have been a routine victory for undefeated prospect Billy Collins Jr. against journeyman Luis Resto became boxing's darkest chapter. Resto's trainer, Panama Lewis, had removed the padding from Resto's gloves and soaked his hand wraps in plaster of Paris. For 10 rounds, Resto wasn't boxing Collins, he was beating him with hardened fists covered by leather. Collins suffered a torn iris and permanently blurred vision, ending his career. The damage was so severe that Collins Sr. immediately knew something was wrong when he shook Resto's hand after the fight. He could feel the fighter's knuckles through the gloves. 9 months later, Billy Collins Jr. was dead. He drove his car into a culvert while intoxicated. Some commentators have speculated that the loss of his livelihood drove him into a downward spiral. Collins' father has since speculated that his son's death was a suicide. Think about that. A 22-year-old kid with his whole career ahead of him, destroyed by cheaters. Collins went from being 14-0 with a bright future to never being able to fight again, to being dead within a year. Resto and Lewis were both convicted of assault, criminal possession of a weapon, Resto's hands, and conspiracy. Resto served 2.5 years in prison and was banned from boxing for life. For 24 years, Resto denied knowing about the tampered gloves. Then, in 2007, Resto apologized to Collins' widow and admitted that Lewis soaked his hand wraps in plaster of Paris and had broken apart asthma pills to put in his water. This wasn't just cheating, it was assault that led to a young man's death. Resto spent years living in a gym basement, haunted by what he'd done. But apologies don't bring back the dead, and Billy Collins Jr. remains boxing's most tragic victim of cheating. There you have it, fight fans. 7 banned boxers whose scandals rocked the sweet science. From tampered equipment that ended careers to protests that changed history, these stories remind us that boxing's dark side is as real as any knockout punch. Luis Resto's case remains the sport's most horrific cautionary tale, proving that when you turn sport into assault, lives get destroyed. Remember, in boxing, you can lose a fight and come back stronger, but lose your integrity? That's a knockout you can never recover from. If this video opened your eyes to boxing's wild history, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. We've got more untold stories that'll blow your mind coming your way.